Hi guys, welcome to this week's edition of the Coffee and Hero Show, and we are going to have a heck of a lot to get through this week. Deliveries have been obviously ramping up in the last week or two. Going to be the run up to Christmas. Sorry for the C word at this early juncture. But yeah, we're going to be stocking the shelves with more and more sort of merchandise, action figures, trying out a few new lines, that kind of thing. Of course, the focus will always be on the comics, it'll be on the graphic novels, omnibuses, etc, etc. But yeah, we just want to broaden our range slightly for this year, just to appeal to as many people as possible. So again, we did a pretty big merchandise figure order this week. There's more to come over the next couple of weeks. We've done another manga order that's going to be coming in the next week or so as well. And again, we get our weekly deliveries with all the good stuff, the comics and so forth. But I'm going to kick things off this week simply because it took me a while to set it all up. With some of the new figures and statues and so forth that came in this week. So quite a diverse range. We've tried to, again, have as broad an appeal as possible. You know, kicking things off, we've got a couple of really cool DC figures here. This is still part of what I thought was actually a defunct DC collectibles line. They've sort of amalgamated it now in the DC Direct. So we've got a couple here. First of all, the Joker by Greg Capullo. This is from the Death of the Family storyline with Scott Snyder. So for those who may remember, it's where the Joker had his face cut off and he actually strapped it back onto his face. It was a very maniacal, horror-based version of the Joker. But you'll see here, full body action figure, or full body statue, I should say. Great look, you know, great design, and if you want to give some people nightmares, good place to start. As well as that, of course, you've got the Batman Who Laughs. This is the second edition, which is the black and white version of the figure. There was a color version, although you could argue the Batman Who Laughs is mostly a character dressed in black anyway. The only real differences here is the lack of red around the smile and a tiny bit of color in the face. But yeah, I love these black and white statues, and I think this is one of the best designs. Of course, this is once again based on Greg Capullo, becoming a theme here this week. So yeah, that is the Batman Who Laughs. Coming to the side, got a couple of anime figures coming in. Obviously, people who know me know I'm a Naruto fan, so getting a few more of these BST AXN, or action figures, if you will. So first of all, you've got Sasuke. Next up, you've got Kakashi, undoubtedly the coolest one of the three. We've already got Naruto in stock, and then of course we have Itachi as well. So again, a slightly different, something a bit different to have in. We haven't really went massive on anime stuff, although again, that may change in the new year. You know, we always try to broaden our horizons and also basically appeal to what it is that people want. Got a couple of DC Multiverse figures in, so we've had the full rake of Batman Beyond figures for a while, but the first one to sell out is always Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond. But it's part of a 4 set to create the Build-A-Figure for Batman Future's End. So we keep getting these ones back in. One or two of the other ones have sold as well, but it's just so we have the full set if you're looking for that Build-A-Figure situation. Next up, you have Azrael from Batman. This is going back to old school Batman. This is back when Azrael took over the mantle of the Bat when Bruce Wayne had his back broken by Bane. So this is the classic Batman armor style of that. You know, nothing screams 90s more than this figure. Just pure brilliance. That's part of the McFarlane Gold Label collection. We got a set in this week, a couple of sets of these. These are the Power Rangers / Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Lightning Collection crossover figures. So you've got Morphed Donatello and Morphed Leonardo in one set. In the next set, you have Morphed April and Morphed Michelangelo. And then in the last set, we have the Morphed Raphael and Foot Soldier Tommy as well. So again, 3 different sets that are the whole set. These are from Hasbro figures with that one. Next up, we have a little Transformer set here. So we are, this is the 6 Autobots which actually come together in pure Transformer style to create one large Transformer as well. So again, just Transformers is something that seems to do well in the store, seems to sell well, seems to appeal to a lot of people, 80s kids like myself included. So again, we're going to be trying this stuff out and seeing that there is, you know, a market for it. Next up, we have figures from Cobra Kai, undoubtedly one of the hottest shows in the world. So this is part of a 3 set again. So what we have here, we have Johnny Lawrence, then we have John Kreese, And then of course we have from Miyagi-Do Karate, we have Danny LaRusso as well. So again, these are sets of 3. You'll see the pictures just on the back. What I really like about these as well is each one comes with a stand, but also a plastic manipulator, so you can pose them in different ways, which I think just gives a lot of choices for how you want to present them or display them. But undoubtedly the thing that I've got most questions about, and also was pushing quite a bit on social media there last week, this is a new range we're going into, and I think we're probably the only place in Belfast, possibly even in Northern Ireland, that'll be doing these figures at the moment. I may change, or maybe I'm wrong, maybe there's other guys doing these apart from, you know, sourcing them online. But it was just something that I really wanted to get in. And, you know, as anybody who knows me knows, I've been getting more and more into my wrestling, you know, been loving my AEW stuff, but I've also been getting into New Japan wrestling as well. So much talent there, so much pomp and circumstance, so hard hitting. And obviously AEW did a little crossover with them as well called Forbidden Door. So again, that introduced a lot of these guys to mainstream media a lot more. But there's this range of Super 7 figures that are being done, and they're just absolute things of beauty. So there's 8 different figures here, 8 different wrestlers, and they all come in this beautiful box. First of all, so you have the King of Sports New Japan Pro Wrestling logo on the front, and then you have the name of the wrestler inside. But you flick through this, it just shouts premium. It really does. So you come out with that. Each figure is, first of all, it means each figure is really well protected because they shipped like this. Then they're all wrapped in plastic. You also have this beautiful foil embossed logo, once again for King of Sports New Japan Pro Wrestling. A little bit more foil on the back. Moving away from that, let me see, I think I had an Okada one that I opened to have a look at, so I'll pull that out instead of breaking that just yet. But these will all be in display, you know, they're not going to be just their boxes put into display cases. We will have these on display so that people can get a sense of them, because they're not cheap figures. They're not, you know, £20 action figures. There's a little bit more expense to these. So as I say, if we pull off the Okada one, so again, the really cool thing with the design is that they lift up and they show off the figures themselves. So again, just screams premium the way it's all set up. Each figure comes, you know, beautifully boxed, really nicely done with this sort of ring style. You have different attachments, different hands. You have clothing attachments. You have props. You have head attachments, and then a breakdown of each figure on the back as well. So, I mean, these will probably be displayed like this in display cases, and then with the box just in behind as well. So they're a beautiful range of figures, and again, it's about getting something different in as well, and that, you know, appeals to that slightly different market, myself being in that market as well. But as I say, there's 8 different wrestlers here. So, you know, first of all, we of course have the Rainmaker there, Kazuchika Okada. So we put that back in here. But yeah, again, I just loved how they shipped, and, you know, again, the sort of prestige feel to them. So yeah, we have Okada there. Next up, we have Hiromu Takahashi. I'm not going to open each individual one up though, I'm afraid. You're going to have to come into the store or check out the pictures on social media that I'll inevitably post out once they are all taken out. So basically this was wave 1 and wave 2. There were 4 figures in each wave, so that's 2 so far. You also have Bushi. We have Hiroshi Tanahashi. Tomohiro Ishii. That's going to be one of the best figures. Bruv himself, Will Ospreay. The King of Darkness, Evil. And then we also finish off with Tetsuya Naito as well. So, as I say, that's the full range of both waves of those figures. And then we also got these ones in as well from New Japan. But this is from a slightly earlier set. But this is Liger. And again, an absolute classic wrestler of the era. This one was from Storm Collectibles as opposed to Super 7. But again, similar sort of thing. You've got the individual hands there, the figure itself nicely detailed, and those ones aren't quite as expensive as those, but just thought it was a good thing to get more and more of the New Japan stuff in. So again, these will all be going out for sale this week. I I don't know if there's a market for this. I really don't. These could sit in the store for the next 5 years. I don't know. But at the same time, they could fly off the shelves this weekend because they're so specialist. And, you know, you're probably either interested in them or you're not. You know, you're not going to be convinced into it. But yeah, it's just an idea of the kind of stuff we're going to be getting in the next few weeks. We have other orders in place as well. Other action figures coming in. And again, just leading up to Christmas. Just wanting to make sure that the store is as packed as absolutely possible. But yeah, that is the figure element of it. But we're going to move away from there and move on to the figures. Move on to the comic side of things. And we're going to kick that off with my pull list. So we move away from the figure side of thing and onto my pull list, as I say. So I'm doing this so fresh on the Tuesday morning that I haven't even bagged and boarded my own pull list yet. I know, disgraceful, but I'm still going to take you through it. Just going to have to be gentle as I take them out. So yeah, it's a pretty big week this week, as you can see for me. Quite a lot of quality comics. We're kicking things off with Batman One Bad Day. So out this week is the Penguin. These of course have been the one-shots, focusing on a different member of Batman's Rogues Gallery each time, with a different team behind them. All one-shots, all linked to this sort of idea of one bad day. So it's John Ridley and Giuseppe Camicoli on this one. That is the character variant. I just get those because they all sort of link up, but there are obviously the cover A's in the store. Next up from Mark Waid and Dan Mora is Batman Superman World's Finest, so number 8. Continues to be one of DC's best titles, if you ask me. I think it just perfectly encapsulates the DC universe, plays with it a little bit, but also introduces some very real stakes. Plus that Dan Mora artwork is just absolutely boss. Next up we have Batman the Knight. So this is issue 10 of 10. This brings to an end the Chip Zdarsky, Carmine Domenico run of Bruce becoming Batman, if you will, and has been pretty stellar as well. So that's going to make a really good collection. DC seem to have been sensible for a change. Don't make me regret saying that, DC. But they seem to have been sensible. They haven't released trades yet, which says to me they're going to release one nice trade, which will have all 10 issues, hopefully a hardcover. Next up we have Catwoman 48. So as you all well know, I collect the variants when it comes to Catwoman. This one is by Zuzo Micah. And we're continuing on with the Teenie Howard run on Catwoman, which has been pretty great. Next up we have issue 4 of DC vs. Vampires All Out War. So Matthew Rosenberg and Alex Packnadell on this one. This of course is your side story to the main DC vs. Vampires line, and it's been pretty good so far. Deceased War of the Undead Gods, we're continuing the Tom Taylor and Trevor Hairsine. This seems to be the trilogy capper, if you will. So you had Deceased, Dead Planet, and then this. You also have other stories as well, of course. You had Deceased Unkillables, Hope of World's End. Those are sort of more seen as adding texture to the whole world, whereas it's seen as a trilogy, and this is the last part of that. A couple of series finishing this week. Another one is Flashpoint Beyond. So Jeff Johns, of course, has been on this. It looks like he's joined by Jeremy Adams, as well as Rob Sheridan. A couple of different artists as well. So Manico, Mikel Yannon, as a couple of examples. Another great cover there as well. A new title launching this week, again from John Ridley with art by Stefano Rafal, is GCPD The Blue Wall, which seems to be focusing more on the cops in Gotham. Whether it'll reach the heights of something like Gotham Central, that's a whole other story. But, you know, it's an Oscar-winning writer writing about the cops in Gotham. What's wrong with that? Next up we have Nightwing. We're up to issue 97. Again, Bruno Redondo just keeps knocking it out of the park with these covers. Thoroughly stellar. Tom Taylor, of course, writing, Bruno Redondo on art, and again, still, I sound like I broke a record, but still one of DC's best titles. On to a little bit of Marvel stuff now. So first of all, we have Alien number 2. I thought issue 1 of this was great. I thought it set it up really interestingly with regards to super soldiers taking on the aliens, and gave the story a new wrinkle, which I thought was pretty cool, instead of just your mindless, you know, colonial marines that are inevitably going to be ripped to shreds. No, instead it's super soldiers that will inevitably be ripped to shreds. Continuing on then with Captain America Symbol of Truth. So we've still got the 2 Captain America titles, Sentinel of Liberty being the Steve Rogers title, which is great. I read the last issue of that last night actually. And then you have Symbol of Truth, which is your Sam Wilson story. I find there's a little bit more humor in this, a little bit more cameo of the week, if you will. You know, so far it's had Deadpool in it, it's had Black Panther in it, a couple of others. But yeah, been really good as well. Those 2 series have been interlinking really well, and I believe it's going to be linking even further into an upcoming event. Next up is issue 7 of Carnage from Ram V and Rouge Antonio, and my god, look at that cover. That is easily one of the covers of the week, and that's just covering. Next up, just in time for Halloween, is a nice Marvel one-shot called Crypt of Shadows. So this is going to be obviously showing a little bit more of the, you know, mystical, darker side of the Marvel universe. You know, you can see you've got Moon Knight there, you've got Bloodstone, you've got X-23, you've got Man-Thing, just to name a few. The main reason I was excited for this is it's a pile of different writers and artists, but it's the Marvel writing debut of Chris Condon, who does that Texas Blood, which is such a title, and Hell's a Squared Circle recently, which is another superb one. Next up is Midnight Suns. I really dug the first issue of this. Don't really know anything about it in terms of like linking to an upcoming game or anything like that, but just as a well-told comic story with great characters, I thought this was really, really good. You know, you've got Magic in there, you've got Wolverine, you've got Blade, and then Doctor Doom turned up at the end of issue 1, so good stuff. Miracle Man, The Silver Age, so we're kicking this off in earnest now, I believe. So Neil Gaiman and Mark Buckingham on art. And I like how it's Legacy 23, so they're continuing on that game and numbering system. New issue of Moon Knight this week, so continuing with Jed MacKay and Alessandro Cappuccio. Again, one of Marvel's best titles in my opinion. Predator hasn't massively grabbed me so far. We're up as far as issue 3, but I'm going to stick with it for a couple more because I really like Ed Brisson, the writer, and Kev Walker on art as well. So it hasn't grabbed me in the same way as Alien grabbed me, but you know, it maybe had more to live up to because it was delayed and took a lot longer to come out, for example. There's some good stuff in it, don't get me wrong, I just think Alien's been done better so far. Next up is Thor, so we're on to issue 28. You can see obviously Venom is making a guest appearance in this one. Al Ewing is co-writing with Donny Cates as well, and it's Salvador LaRocca on art as opposed to Nick Klein, although Nick Klein has done the cover. Comes the indie stuff. First of all, we have the Bone Orchard Mythos, 10,000 Black Feathers. We're up to number 2 of this. This is part of the interconnected horror universe that Jeff Lemire and Andres Sorrentino have been setting up. Kicked it off with a graphic novel. Now I'm moving into single issues. Oh, this brings a tear to my eye. So this is Deadly Class, as it says on the back, the end. Issue 56. It was the only comic I took home with me last night. I sat and read it. I cried, I laughed, I cheered. Such a title. Cannot say enough about it. I know you're bored hearing me talk about it, but I'm going to keep talking about it. Mindset is next for me, so this is Mindset number 4. This has been a Vault Comics title. It's been quite a lot of fun. Zach Kaplan writing, John Pearson on art. We have Nina Hawes' Nightmare blog. It only seems to be myself and Keith that are on this title. There's a few guys on the trades, but we're up as far as issue 9, and this is sort of the side story to Philadelphia, if you will. But calling it a side story is a disservice. Philadelphia's all to do with vampires. This is to do with demons. Been really, really good. Once in Future. This was actually out last week, issue 30 of Once in Future, but I did not have enough copies for myself. So finally now I can read the end of this. A lot of series coming to an end this week. So there are. Well, I suppose that came to an end last week. Next up we have Prometheus 1313. So this is the Ablaze series, science fiction from Andy Diggle. It's been cool so far. We have Sacrament from AWA Studios. We're up as far as issue 3 of 5. Peter Milligan's been doing some great stuff with AWA, and this is no exception. Silver Coin, one of my favourite titles. Different horror story every time. Always drawn by Michael Walsh, but then you have a different writer each time. But this is the end of the 3rd sort of arc, if you will. It's not really an arc because each story is different, but they collect the trades in groups of 5. So this being issue 15, Michael Walsh tends to write the last issue of each sort of arc himself, but up to issue 15 of that, so trade will be hitting soon. We have Walking Dead Deluxe up to issue 49. Damn it, 48 was such a hard read. I'll explain why in future episodes, I'm sure. And then we finish off with Wind Thrown in the Sky. So James Tynion IV, Michael Dialnis on art, and this is the 3rd volume of Wind that we are continuing on from Boom Studios. So that is my pull list for the week. There are, of course, other things beyond that. That's just what's in my pull list. I'm sure you will know bits and pieces that are out this week that I'm not reading, and you'll probably look at me and go, why are you not reading it? But again, that's just my pull list. So we'll move across then to what came in new this week. A couple of nice big hardback editions, a couple of omnibuses, a hardcover that finally arrived despite being released ages ago. Just the release schedule for it has been a nightmare, getting it through Diamond. A lot of nice trades as well, including some great one-off stories. So we'll kick things off with one of the DC graphic novels for kids collection. This is Green Lantern Alliance. So again, these books, as you see, they are smaller than a traditional comic book. They are aimed at younger readers. They're not overly violent. There's no sexual content, anything like that. So again, if you're looking to get some younger readers into comics, that's the kind of range to aim for. So as you know, we always get the epic collections in. So the next one this week for Hulk is And Now the Wolverine. So this is obviously going to go through Hulk 181. Yep. So Incredible Hulk 179 to 200 plus the annual number 5. So you're getting 22 issues of Hulk plus the annual. This is volume 7. This you can see Man-Thing on the back there as well. Abomination. This is volume 7 covering 1974 to 1976. And of course, the big thing there is going to be people want to see the first appearance of Wolverine. So, speaking of Hulk, slightly more modern Hulk, the trade hits this week for Hulk versus Thor, Banner of War. So this was the crossover between the two Donny Cates titles, which of course is Hulk and Thor. So as well as the Thor issues and the Hulk issues, you've got Hulk versus Thor, Banner of War Alpha, which set it all up. I've really enjoyed Donny Cates' Thor run so far. His Hulk run, I still haven't decided if I like, but I thought this crossover was really good. It sort of simplified things a lot and just moved it into a traditional sort of genuine superhero versus title. So I really, really like that. So we are all about the first appearances this week, it would appear. So Fantastic Four is the next epic collection up. This is volume 4, 1966 to 1967. And the reason you'll see Black Panther so prominent in the covers because he made his first appearance in this run. So Fantastic Four 52 to 67, plus a couple of annuals, plus material from Not Brand Ek 1 and 5 as well. So yeah, covering 1966, 1967 there. Really cool story this was from DC. This is Aquaman, Green Arrow, Deep Target. Not really two characters you would normally think would go together so easily, but it worked really, really well. It was essentially a one-off story they put together to celebrate 80 years of Aquaman and Green Arrow in existence. So 7 issues in total, so a slightly thicker trade, which is nice as well. Brandon Thomas writing and Ronan Cliquet on art. One I would highly recommend that I thoroughly enjoyed from Tom Taylor and Iban Coelho. This is essentially Tom Taylor's goodbye to the Marvel Universe, for now, as he signed exclusively with DC. But yeah, this was a 6-issue mini-series called Dark Ages, and it's a traditional outside of canon Tom Taylor bloodfest, if you will. It also includes material from the Free Comic Book Day of 2020 as well. But yeah, every character in the Marvel Universe gets its moment in this book, which is no mean feat when you're only doing 6 issues. But a little bit of humour in it as well, tons of heroics, and again, that nice sense of unknowing in terms of will all of these characters survive. Next up is the 3rd volume of Radiant Black. Again, another title I enjoy very, very much through Image Comics. I'm not a Power Rangers guy, but this is probably as close as I'll get. And this is issues 13 to 18, some supplementary material as well. Radiant Black always sells well in stores. So yes, you're starting to introduce more and more to the massive verse, if you will, through this. So yeah, if you enjoy your Power Ranger stuff or something like Invincible, Radiant Black's definitely worth giving a shot to. Next up, this really confused me when I saw it in the invoice because I was convinced it said the Shaolin Cowboy Star Trek, but it actually says Start Trek. So this is basically a couple of different anthology books all put into one for Shaolin Cowboy from Jeff Darrow. Thoroughly beautiful art the whole way through this. Exceptionally gorgeous book. Great world building. And again, something a little different on the comic side of things. A couple of Marvel ones up for you next. We have the next volume of Darth Vader. So this is the Darth Vader through the Crimson Reign era, if you will. So this is issues 18 to 22 by Greg Pak, Leonard Kirk. And again, continuing on with the Darth Vader, beautiful stuff there. Trials of X is next up. So Trials of X is now your first book for moving on to the next state of the X-Men stuff, if you will. So this is including the Trial of Magneto stuff, and you've got Trial of Magneto, Sword, New Mutants, and Marauders issues in there. Next up is Refrigerator Full of Heads. So this is a hardcover. This is continuing the Hill House horror line, and yeah, it was really, really good. It was a follow-up to Basket Full of Heads, and again, another 6-issue mini picks up directly from that. We got a lovely new anniversary edition for Hush. Again, one of the best Batman stories ever. It's Batman 608 to 619. You've also got the Hush interlude from Wizard Zero, and again presented with a brand new Jim Lee cover. Beautiful hardback. Continuing on the hardback theme with the next run of Avengers. So this is the 3rd volume with Jason Aaron's running the Avengers, issues 22 to 30. And again, this is covering some great stuff. Obviously, Ghost Rider, Captain Marvel coming in very heavy in that. We have a couple of volumes of omnibuses now. We have the New Teen Titans Omnibus Volume 1. So this contains the first 20 issues, as well as DC Comics presents 26 in the 4-issue miniseries Tales of the New Teen Titans as well. So yeah, this was Marv Wolfman and George Perez, so absolute heavyweights at the top of their game. Speaking of George Perez, legend that he was, we also have the Wonder Woman omnibus in this week as well. So this collects absolutely everything that he did, 1 to 24, along with the Wonder Woman annual. And it also has an introduction by George Perez that was written as well. The one that I was talking about that was proven such a pain in the butt to get in, and now we finally have got it in, is Fantastic Four Full Circle. This is an original graphic novel, written and drawn by Alex Ross. Self-contained, one-shot graphic novel, OGN, great stuff. Just took forever to come in for whatever reason, and I really don't understand why. And then finally, this came out a few weeks back, but we managed to get one more. These are like hen's teeth right now. But 7 to Eternity, the deluxe edition, Rick Remender, Jerome Opina. As I say, this is the Giant Generator deluxe edition. Beautifully presented. It has the expanded art, which is brilliant in a book like this. And again, this is the entire King Caboodle. This is the entire run of that. So yeah, that's all the stuff that is new in this week. That's the pull list, that's the merch. Just one final thing to say regarding the Declan Shelby signing. Cheers to everyone who showed up to that. Anybody that didn't get a chance for whatever reason, we do have a selection of signed issues that Deck did before he left, and he also did a few original sketch covers as well for Old Dog, so they're all available in the store as well. But as ever, hope this proved useful. Hope you guys are keeping well out there. As ever, anything appeals to you, just get in touch and we'll get you sorted. So again, hope this proved useful. I'll see you in store soon.